Bring their own benches, heated benches at that.
I think he probably did they say why he decided to bring their benches? Like, that's the first time I ever heard of that. They think Snyder gonna try to stiff them, have them all day in the
Yeah,
cold.
having them in cold. Yep.
Oh man, shoot, them Bama's. Hey, return. You was right though. When you said that Jerry Jones sounded like he ain't believe it. I can almost hear him. He's like, yeah,
Right.
somehow Washington seems to be the best market outside of DC. I can't explain it.
We don't even market there. I don't know.
No, that's something in the water, man. But my uncle, he told me a long time ago why he root for the Cowboys. He said anybody that's old enough to remember the Redskins, the Washington previous owner, know that he said he would never have a black person play for him. And he was like, "Yeah, I would never
Jack
be
Kent Cooker before him.
Nah, that's before him. This was
Is it George Allen?
Nah, not George Allen. The previous owner.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. It was before
like
Cook.
The last team to get a black person.
Yeah, yep. Yep. So,
I wasn't around for that era.
Nah.
We got
I said, why you harboring on old stuff? So man, let's get into it, man. And I don't know what to say about this weekend. So
no, right?
let me ask you this. Any so Jose, you said you was the number one seed and you about to be bounced first round. Anybody
about to bounce the first
round?
make
the playoffs or looking good against the playoffs or any leagues or?
Yeah, I want to say congrats to Jose for making that big leap, man. What, you in fourth place now?
I don't say that mean he leaped over me if he in fourth place.
I still got a man going.
I got Connor going.
Yeah, he going on, but I got Sony Michelle.
I said I was trying to make a
I couldn't. I
push to at least fight for second place.
I looked up. I was like, I'm a fourth. I was like, okay, and I still got one more player to play. I'm about to jump up to 3 or 2.
I don't like that at all.
AJ, I'm coming to you for AJ.
I fail.
AJ, I'm coming for you. Where's the camera at? For you.
Speaking of what he's supposed to be on? Nah, Gene said he wouldn't be able to stay up late enough. Man, let's get into it, man. Let's talk about some performances that were kind of came out of nowhere before we get into the actual games. Rashad Penny came over 16 for 137, 2 TDs. Now going to this game, I was like, I'm not touching any Seattle running backs, but he made a fool out of me on that one.
Yeah, I was talking about Homer.
You called out Penny. I thought you were gonna pick him up.
I said I called out Homer. I was looking at another running back.
Because I know we were talking about the matchup with them playing against Houston and trying to figure out where the points would come from. Now I was confident that Lockett would do his thing, but I was definitely not confident in the Seattle ground game heading into the game. But it looked like Alex Collins, he got out touched 16-7. Surprisingly, he must have figured out that Alex Collins is not he don't really got it, and decided to rock a Penny all game because Penny ended up with 16 carries, 137, 2 TDs on the day. And I guess my question to you, when we start returns, would you trust him going into the playoffs next week? Like, is he somebody that you potentially will add or start next week at a flex spot?
Shoot, I'm trying to see who they got.
They got playing. You see who they're playing next week.
I think it's Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. Oh, if it's Jacksonville, absolutely. Jacksonville is garbage. Urban Meyer has given up. He does not want to be in the NFL anymore.
Apparently that, man. He want to get the boy James Robinson no carry. He the best.
That's what I'm saying. He out there playing. He think he dealing with college players. Like, hey, yeah, you on the bench.
Like, nah, they don't have Jacksonville. They have the Rams next week.
The Rams.
No, yeah, don't do that against the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams, and then Chicago.
Ain't Connor going off right now?
What's Connor doing right now? I need him to do something big.
I don't. The way the running backs are looking, man, I think you got to put Rashad Penny in the top 24. I think. I mean, I don't know who else you got, but I think you got to have him in the top 24. You got fresh legs. He's the type of person that when you something down the stretch. And see, this is what we talk about.
I will pick him up now and hold him for week 15. I mean, week 16. When he play a soft team, I know he played somebody soft on week 16.
So he got the way it works out is his next games are against the Rams and Chicago, and then 17 he had Detroit, which is basically the championship week, right? Is if you're able to put him on, I think he might be on to something. Even with the Rams, if he gets the bulk of the carries, then I think they may be on to something. But they get cute and try to mix it up again.
Man. Pete Carroll don't do that. Pete Carroll, to me, if he got a stud, he gonna give him the ball. So I would trust him. I mean, especially even with unless they get in a situation where they get behind. But if it's like a grind out game, the game that we was hoping the Redskins would play, then they're gonna run the ball.
That's right.
I need to get it light over here. It's looking dark as I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh man, you get that mood lighting going on. Right. All right, so let's see. Saquon had a decent day, man. You think this could bode well for him going into where you can trust him going into playoffs? He ended up with. Let me see. He ended up with 16 attempts, 64 yards, and 3 for 31 through the air, and 1 touchdown for a total of 17 points. I had PPR league. I think there's more to come. And his next matchups in the playoffs are.
Well, he's going against Giants next week. So, I mean, Dallas. I wouldn't do that against Dallas.
Look, I guess after what they did to the Washington football team, huh?
Like now we scared of Dallas.
I know.
No. Honestly, man, I respect what Gene said. That was I didn't look at the.
We ain't respected yesterday. When he said it.
No. Listen. No, I respect. What I respect is
love.
What I respect is that his D-line came up. Everybody was healthy. So everybody in defense was healthy, and I saw the difference yesterday. That D-line, man, was sick. Because normally, Parson, who's the linebacker? The rookie linebacker. Usually he's on the line or as linebacker as the 4th blitzer, but he was the 5th blitzer, and we could not handle him. He was looking like LeVar out there.
Looking like 99 LeVar.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, everybody looked good yesterday. And so I think it's partly them playing well and partly Washington not showing up. I mean,
but to be honest, from a fanning perspective, nobody really went off like that besides the defenses.
No, that's I was gonna say because I tried to double dip and I had Gallup starting. He did nothing for me. So it wasn't like they had a bunch of people go off. Zeke didn't do much anything.
Amari Cooper got a touchdown. He did something. But,
yeah, nobody went off, in terms of based on the, with the number of points that were scored.
It was the under. That's what killed me because I was just so hype about the game. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a shootout. 36-33, let's go. And that joint was terrible. It was terrible because it was a defensive game, which you would have thought Antonio Gibson would have did better running the ball.
No, I thought they would do more screens, but they were killing it, man. They were on top of those screens. And honestly, man, I didn't like the play calls. They were
early on. I wasn't excited about the play call either.
Yeah, I was like, that's not normally what they be doing. I was so disappointed. It was looking like I was watching San Fran. I was like, what is this? This is not the Washington team I remember.
Let me see here. For some reason. Oh, okay. All right. So Saquon Barkley, who do he have in the playoffs? So Saquon has Dallas next week, the week, and Philly the week after, then Chicago. Any thoughts on him going into the fantasy playoffs? Somebody you can trust.
Saquon. If you got Saquon, you probably not in the playoffs.
You're right about that.
Look, you had to draft. You had to have one hell of a draft after that first round.
I know you had to get Cooper Kupp, Stafford to make up for that.
Man. Came through number 1 and 2 receivers after that. Right. All right, of course, had a nice weekend that was kind of unexpected yesterday. Oh man, let's see. Oh, big up to Hunter Renfrow. Jose, he's still getting it done.
Jose, man.
Yeah, man. He's been solid for me.
All right, we got Alan Lazard from Green Bay. He ended up with he had one rush attempt for 14 yards, 7 targets, 6 receptions for 75 plus a TD. Any love for Alan Lazard going into the playoffs?
Nope.
Any reason to think he would do anything, be consistent at all?
Nah, Chicago got lucky and went up early, which was unheard of. Nobody expected that.
They did come on. They came on hot, didn't they?
Yeah, they came out hot. You know, they should have been a better Dillon game, but
he was moving the ball too. They just got away from him.
He ain't get a touchdown though.
Right.
Because Aaron Rodgers just like to vulture all of the goal line touchdowns to Devontae Adams.
I know,
that play is unstoppable.
I know.
So, but I'm not.
It's amazing how efficient they are between them two. Considering for the most part, there's really nobody else he throws the ball to now.
And you know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, every time.
It's like you know what they're gonna do, but you just cannot stop it.
So. It's just that connection, man.
Right.
I think they go up there. I don't even know if they got the play call in the huddle. Like they go up there and just look and give a little hand signal to each other, like we're going back to it.
Right.
All right, man. So let's see. Any notable injuries? Did they say what was the but Heineke? What his situation was that he got when he got injured?
No, I don't remember.
They said it was a knee, I think, but I don't know.
Man, let me say this. I know we talked about been crying about Pat Mahomes for a while. They scored 48 points, and he still only gave me like 20 points. No, he gave me 18 and that.
That's the running game.
I had Kelsey and Hill.
Ooh.
Just.
And that's supposed to be a blow spot.
Exactly. And I'm like 48. Oh yeah, I'm in the money somewhere. I'm like,
nah.
Who? I'm like, oh my god.
They had all the running backs.
I was like, who scored? Frank Gore?
Yeah.
Every running back got a touchdown.
Williams.
Edwards Elaire and Gore.
And the daggone wide receiver from back in the day who got 1,000 chances.
Gordon. Josh Gordon.
Yeah, I was like, yo, for real, Josh Gordon. Come on, man.
Yeah, the line went. I think that too. Yeah. It goes back to when I was talking about the Kelsey pick, whether or not draft as high as you draft him, whether he was paying dividends or not. But I guess if you drafted, you happy if you drafted a man out of Kittle out of San Fran right now. That's for sure.
Well, see,
I know he came off strong
in the playoffs because Kittle was out for so long, like me. Like I got Kittle. I drafted him.
And look, and the thing you couldn't drop him, so that means you had to take him another slot with a
Right.
backup tight end.
Right. He was out for so long though. Now he giving me points, but they ain't helping me. I'm like, I needed you weeks ago, buddy.
So I had two tight ends. I had Kittle and Gesicki.
Kittle and Gesicki. Okay. I think the best lineup somebody had I think it was Andrews at tight end and then Kittle at the flex. And normally I have a hard time putting two tight ends in there, but it worked out for somebody this weekend. If you had them two based on DFS. All right, so look, we started off with the Washington football team Dallas game where Dallas jumped out to basically was it 20-0 or did they go or was it 27-0? Did they get that bad at halftime? Or it was 20-0? But so Dallas
was that?
The Dallas Washington game.
Oh yeah.
How many points were down? Were they down? Was it 24-0 or 23-0? I mean, 21-0 at a certain point in time. I can't remember. But I just know they got outscored like early in the game. Where it looked like they were gonna run away with it, like from jump. Let's see. They had. Okay. All right. But anyway, like Terrence mentioned before, this wasn't based on the point total, where Dallas won 27-20. It wasn't that much of a much fantasy production being had. Amari Cooper had 5 for 51 and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb had 7 for 61. Dak only scored about 12 points. He's 11.9.
I hate Dak. Dak gave me 6 points.
Elliott only 45 yards on the ground. Corey Clement, I don't know where it came from, had 44 yards as well. Dalton Schultz, not even a point, not even a full point. On Washington.
Yeah,
all those weapons
like
again.
Schultz and Gallup. Ain't nobody do nothing.
G
was like, yeah, Schultz gonna finish in the top 10.
Man. So from Washington standpoint, the only person that did anything or had any type of production from a point total standpoint was Cam Sims. I don't know how many people started him. 69
got me a donut.
3 receptions, 69 yards, 1 TD. Gibson, 10 for 36, 5 yards plus a fumble.
Yo, this is enough, man. I didn't join in for this. Okay, I already.
So another game that was equally terrible was the Jacksonville Tennessee game, which is Tennessee won 20-0. But I'm not even sure if you can count victories over Jacksonville anymore. They, like you said, I think they gave up from the top down.
Y'all saw the handshake?
Nah. I had Hilliard, man. He's my god. And I was talking about Foreman too. I had Hilliard.
So they had Foreman in one league, but I didn't start him. But I definitely think that judging how this game went, it showed that Foreman not only he could have had a couple catches out of the backfield, so he might be both the main third down runner, the first 3 down running back as well, given he's catching balls out of the backfield. So, man, this is bad, man. Julio Jones 4 for 33, Westbrook Akinai 3 for 31. This fantasy game was terrible.
What's his name? They asked Urban Meyer about this player, right? I think he was a starting safety or the safety. He didn't even know he wasn't playing.
He didn't get the memo. Let me tell you what the Jacksonville played 3 running backs, and they all scored a total of from what I got here is a total of 3.2 points.
Hey, I did say Treadwell. I had picked him up on my fantasy. On my daily.
I remember you mentioning Treadwell.
He's like for some reason he's like that deep threat.
He had 4 for 68. Man, this is terrible. Yeah, let's move on. Any other takeaways other than Foreman perhaps being their primary back going forward?
Your players against Jacksonville.
I want to point out Terrence what's his name, Jordan. He's starting to creep up the sleeper on King's
Yeah, I
list.
think he's gonna be. I mean, he's gonna be a nice sleeper for next year.
Yep.
All right, so next game, Detroit versus Denver. They got smashed 38-10. Man, the early games, man, were terrible. Like until a couple of them end up going being tight at the end. Like the Washington game was terrible for most of the game, and Buffalo was getting blown out until late.
Did you watch the
And
whole game?
the Washington game,
Yeah.
yeah, I watched most of the game. Yeah. I tried to avoid. We had it on because we were doing the Kindle. I told you we had
Yeah.
folks over for Kindles. I was trying to avoid it and trying to act like I couldn't see it, but I was talking and kind of looking over the side of mine. I just kept saying the score was 0. I was like, this is terrible. And then my dad opened up the door when we was outside. He was like, man, they Boston just scored again. I was like, for real? I'm going to go ahead and check this out. But from on the Denver Detroit game, that was another blowout where Denver had 38-10. Man, as much as they try to keep, as well as Javonte Williams is running, and they keep trying to put Melvin Gordon on the bench, man, he keeps showing up.
I know.
He had 24 for 111, 2 touchdowns, and Javonte had 15 for 73 on there for Denver. So it looked like, going forward, once again, you can play both of them, and both of them could be viable Lawrence RB2s going forward. Let's see here. Because right now they are Gordon's at 4 and Williams is at 7 right now. So you got 2 top 10 running backs on the team. Who they matched up with next week for the fantasy playoffs?
Las Vegas.
They got Vegas next week.
I think.
If they do, you have to play them. You playing them anyway. But I definitely I have faith in them that they have. No, they have Cincy next week, and then Vegas. They got Cincy, then Vegas.
They can run on Cincy.
Yeah, they got Cincinnati, then Vegas. All right. Let me see something real quick. All right. From a Detroit standpoint, I guess before I move off of Denver, there was nobody else really noteworthy. Teddy Bridgewater did what Teddy Bridgewater does, and he had 179 yards on 18 for 25 attempts and 2 touchdowns. So if you're looking for a floor play, then I think Bridgewater playing against Cincy and Vegas is definitely good for a floor play for you. Like if you got a pretty solid team. Let's see.
What did he rank as a quarterback, top quarterback?
Right now,
number 20.
Number 20?
He is 19. Yeah, man. At the moment. So from Detroit standpoint, only thing worth that's anybody that was notable was Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I think I mentioned him a couple weeks ago, and being coming on and having a decent chance for production each week in and week out, being consistent fantasy producer at that flex spot. At 8 for 73. Khalif Raymond ended up getting a touchdown. Craig Reynolds. I don't know. Anybody talk about him this past yesterday?
Talk about Jamar Jefferson.
Listen. Jamar Jefferson.
Right.
He didn't make the stat sheet. Oh, man.
So
what happened?
Needed to talk about running back from Detroit.
And Gene picked him up.
Oh, man. Look, I think because with the U-turn, he's like, I don't even know who that is.
That's what I was like, I ain't never even heard of him.
Oh, man. So yeah, I think we can leave Detroit alone from now on. So we so the one game that ended up going to overtime that got exciting late, they were getting blown out early, is Tampa Bay beating Buffalo 33-27.
I got a story about this game.
And so look, based on game flow, Buffalo had a lot of their stats late on, in particular Josh Allen, who ended up with 308 yards, 2 TDs passing. He had 1 interception, but he had 109 yards rushing and a touchdown. And so he's number 1 on the week right now. And he probably stay that way based on his current Monday night situation. But from a pass catcher standpoint, and them having to come back Stephon Diggs still only gave me 7 for 74. But Dawson Knox had 7 for 60 plus 1 TD at the tight end, which is good enough for tight end 3 at the moment, behind 2 big days from Kittles and Andrews. I'm trying to think who else. You're not playing any unless you're really desperate playing any Buffalo's running backs, considering that basically Josh Allen is their goal line guy. But Dawson Knox had a good day. On Tampa Bay side, Tom Brady, Tom Terrific continues to do what he defy Father Time and continue to torch defenses at 363 yards, 2 TDs, and a rushing TD, right? So
let me tell you my story real quick.
What's that?
All right. So, I'm into the betting, so the line was, so I didn't place my Redskins bet, right? Because I didn't feel good about it.
Despite all the class you was talking, you ain't feel good about that.
Despite all of that, I did not place it. And I'm not gonna say because I didn't feel good about it. The problem is when I bet, I gotta go to Virginia because that's the only place you can place a bet. You can't bet legally in Maryland, right?
Right.
So I didn't make it in time enough, right? Okay. And I was like,
for the 1 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah, I was like, I'm in Virginia though. I gotta place a bet. So I'm going through the bets and I'm like, I just bought my Tom Brady NFT. You know what I mean? And so let's go with the GOAT. I was like, Tom Brady only beating the Bills by 3.5 points. I was like, let's go. They about to crush these Bama's. I said, Bill Belichick just crushed them and didn't even throw a pass. I said, let's go. So they go up 24-3, right? They only got to win by 4 points, right? They up 24-3. So I'm sitting there like, ooh, yes. I got, and then I see the Bills start coming back.
I know this is going.
And then I'm sitting here like, what is going on? This makes me think that I'm telling you, I think the NFL was turning into the damn WWF because let me tell you how this joke played out. So they in Florida. Tom Brady is breaking all the records. Godwin goes for 1,000 yards in the game. That was a big highlight. Tom Brady had the most completions. He broke that record in the game, beating out Drew Brees. And then now they get down, they blowing them out. And the Buffalo comes back, and the game goes in the damn overtime. It's 27-27. I gotta win by 4 points to get my money. So I'm like, it's gonna be a daggone field goal. And then what happens? They throw a touchdown to Rashad Penny, and he gets the
touchdown.
Perriman. And he goes and they go up by 4 points. I mean, they win by 6, and the crowd goes crazy. You know what I mean? The crowd was crazy, and they win the bet, so they covered. And on that touchdown, they was like, that was Tom Brady's 700th touchdown. I was like, wow, how convenient to have his 700th touchdown end on that, and he covers, and they win the game in overtime. Come on, man! On the same week that the NFT comes out,
and he's about to drop his arena man in arena.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Even the commentator was like, that was a very strange game. He kept saying that. Yo. So that's my Tom Brady story.
You on mute.
Oh man, appreciate that, Jose. I said that was the commentator's way of saying keep your third eye open. It's something fishy,
right? Or he had bet on the Bills.
Listen,
because you just knew when the Bills got to 27-24, you was like, oh sweet, it's either gonna be go to overtime, win by 3, or they're gonna lose by 3. Mm-hmm. And the Bills, if you bet on the Bills, you was sitting happy,
right? Look, that wasn't your situation going in overtime.
But probably not a lot of the fans. That's why the fans, they said the crowd is going crazy right now. So
Yeah, it
All
was a
right,
couple games like that.
And
That
look,
was
one more thing, last thing. Daggone Dallas would not have covered if the Redskins didn't get the field goal block. They blocked the daggone field goal, so
Because
Dallas
what was
covered. So
that? What was that?
everybody,
Their thing was 5 points or something like
it
that. What
was
was it?
6.5.
6 points. Okay.
6.5. So if they didn't block that field goal, anybody who betted on the Redskins would have won. So look at that. That's WWF, dog. Come on, man. They wanted they wanted that joint to happen. Same thing with it happened with all the big teams, even with
San Fran and Cincinnati.
oh I didn't see I didn't watch the line on this, but
Yeah, San Fran went up 20-6 or something like that, and then out of nowhere, it ended up 2020 going into overtime 2020 winning by a touchdown.
yo, and same thing with Green Bay and Chicago though. Green Bay
Yeah.
had to beat them by like I think it was 11 points or something like that. And they go down early and then they come up. And if Fields would have scored that touchdown at the end when he threw that interception, then Chicago Bears would have won. And he threw they got a daggone onside kick and then threw an interception. I'm telling you,
Conspiracy
they
theory,
made
man.
that extra week. And they said, look, we're gonna give 1 week to the casinos. And that's the
What's the
week.
line for tonight then?
Heard the little guys.
Right. The line for the night. Shoot, let me see. So
That's
next
fine.
week we probably gonna get a regular week. But
Well,
this
look,
week
while
with
you looking that
WWF.
up, so from Tampa Bay standpoint, man, I think everything is pretty much status quo. The only thing I would make a note of, Leonard Fournette, he went off for 113 yards with a TD. Ronald Jones, man, I think you can pretty much pack him up. It's been that way for a couple weeks now. Without AB, I think Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are pretty viable, both week in and week out. It's great when you get both a game here where they both produce. Even Gronkowski, while he didn't get in the end zone, did have 5 for 62. So with three major primary weapons available to him, man, Tom, can do his thing, and he can have a nice day on the ground. So let's see, and like you mentioned before earlier a second ago, terms is that Rashad Perriman scored that one big play to win the game on a 700 touchdown. That one had one catch, 58 yards, one TD. Not only to save their game, but to save your bet for
Yeah,
the weekend.
because they only needed the field goal to win the game because it was Buffalo had already had the ball in overtime and they stopped them. So all they needed was a field goal and they would have won and I would have lost my bet.
Right.
But the GOAT came through and he gained a fan. I'm a GOAT fan, man.
Hey, my wife put me on to the GOAT. I was like a Tom Brady hater, but I realized like, man, that man knows the game. You can't, and he's just good, man.
All right, so let's go to Las Vegas, Kansas City. This was another blowout game in which Kansas City ended up winning 48-9, right? And you see that score 48 points. You figure it must have been a crushing day for Pat Mahomes, Tariq Hill, and Travis Kelsey. But you would have been wrong. Hill ended up with 4 for 76. Kelsey only had 3 for 27. Mahomes, he did have 2 TDs, 258 yards. He was very efficient, 20 for 24 and 20 yards rushing. Man, but between the backfield, the Kansas City backfield, I'm not sure where this came from. I guess Vegas was just like, look, we're not coming back out of the backfield today. Edwards Alaire had 2 touchdowns on the ground. Derek Gore has 66 yards rushing on 9 attempts with a touchdown, 2 and 23 on through the air. Daryl Williams, while he didn't do much to the air, did have a receiving touchdown as well on, with 3 receptions, 31 yards. And I think he actually should have had another touchdown, but they called him down, and then Derek Gore ended up vulturing the touchdown from him during the game. So I'm not sure. Any interest in Derek Gore at all going into the playoffs next week? or do
lose.
you touch Kansas City backfield? Like if you are playing somebody out of that backfield, if you don't have a layer, like I got Williams, but I'm not picking up Gore. Like I just
Yeah,
like I'm not into getting deeper into a
That's too
carousel.
risky.
Yeah.
yeah.
Look, I was upset that I didn't pick up Foster Moreau at first when I picked up Ricky Seals Jones, who did nothing, absolutely nothing in the Washington game. But I couldn't be too upset because the other guy I was considering, Foster Moreau, he only ended up with 3 for 13. So it's obviously he is not a 1-for-1, or at least not even a 1 to a half of
I
Waller.
picked him up, and yeah, he gave me 3 points.
Hunter Renfro continues to be a fantasy monster, but he had 13 receptions on 14 targets, 117 yards and a TD. So that's his. Let's see what his last few games will look like.
100. It was 100 something last week.
I think he may have. I
In
want to
3
say
weeks
like
he
a
had
5-game streak, something like
yeah.
that.
In 3 weeks he had 365 yards, 30 catches.
Let's see. He's posted 13 for 117 this week, 9 for 102, and 8 for 134. So if you got him, man, he down there doing work in the green zone as well. So he near the goal line, he giving a clinic on route running. That's for sure. I don't know if y'all watched him in that little
Yeah,
the one little route he like to run all the time. But I definitely think,
the cowboy or the in and out.
yeah. So let me ask you this: well, you got Hunter Renfro, right? Who would you rather have going into the first week of the playoffs? Hunter Renfro versus Amari Cooper, Terry McLaurin,
Renfro,
or DeAndre Hopkins?
Renfro.
That's a good one. 4-point PPR, half point.
We say half point.
Man, that's a good one, man. That's a good one. Oh, well, now you gotta look at the matchups though.
What's a good one? The only one that's good is probably Hopkins. Terry's not
Right?
is
Yeah,
not
yeah,
is
yeah. I'm
not
not. Yeah,
consistent.
Terry McLaurin. Nope.
Amari
Not
Cooper's
going
not
there.
as consistent. You know, I'm
Um,
going to run for. Reason I'm
yeah,
going to run for is because he's their number one receiver after Waller.
And
yeah.
Waller can't stay
Nah,
healthy,
I
so
get. I think that's probably. Yeah, he don't had 100 yards the last 3 games.
let's see who is in the playoffs. His matchups are. Let's see how juicy his matchups look.
It's good.
He has Cleveland, Denver,
Mm-hmm.
then Indy.
Yep.
So I'm looking
And
at
that's what
his.
you got. That's what
I'm
you got
looking
to
at
look
his
at too.
finishes.
Is matchups.
Right. I'm looking at his finishes though, in terms of where he's finished at amongst receivers. And half PPR, he's finished number 4, 14, 7, 54, 10, and 14. So since week 9, he's only had one finish outside the top 15.
Wow.
So yeah, he's definitely getting putting in work. All right, let's see.
Hey, is that too
Next,
loud?
I don't hear anything. Are you talking about
Oh,
your
okay.
voice?
No. I thought
No.
you hear the game.
Man, is there anything to talk about with this New Orleans, New York Jets, at least from the Jets
Yeah.
standpoint?
If you need a receiver, we'll get Barrios, Barracks. Dang, what's his
Braxton
name?
Berrios,
Yeah, get him.
he had 10 targets, 6 receptions, 52 yards. But the question is, like,
In
with
our
Zach
league, I'm
Wilson,
talking about. In our
yeah,
league,
but with Zach
because he does
Wilson,
returns.
oh, okay. Look, speaking of returns, I'm gonna ask a question about another guy that played in Sunday night game. But from New Orleans standpoint, Taysom Hill, once again, 73 yards rushing on 11 attempts, 2 TDs, and 175 yards passing. Man, if he's doing that on the ground, man, you can't go wrong. He's gonna be a top 5 QB all the way through the playoffs. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he helped me out this week.
Alvin Kamara came back with a vengeance, 27 for 120. I don't know what just happened, but I just know James Conner went to the number 3 running back.
Yeah, he just scored a touchdown.
Did he?
Yep.
I'm trying to be professional and not sit where I can see the game as
Well,
What you doing? Talking
well, I
about
got
the game? It's a football podcast.
yeah, this is a football podcast,
look,
man.
but I ain't look, but when I
You
see
got
that,
kids
right,
running around.
I got the
Sitting in darkness.
I like your time out.
All I see is sunglasses. I mean glasses.
Cowboys put me in timeout, man.
Oh man, Kamar, he had 120 yards rushing. He had a nice amount of carries too. 27 attempts, had 5 targets, 4 receptions, 25 yards. So if you got those two heading into the playoffs, man, you in good company because who are their matchups? I don't
You
even
got
think for Taysom Hill. I don't even think the matchup matters because if you got the way you run the ball, nobody's ready to stop that type of production from a running standpoint. But in regards to Kamar, they have for the next 3 weeks is they got Tampa, Miami, and Carolina.
That's tough.
And so, all right, next up, let's try to get through these and we'll close out. So at halftime right now, not at halftime, I'm sorry.
Third quarter, fourth quarter,
Is it fourth quarter?
close to fourth, I think.
Yes, so just start the fourth quarter. Arizona, the Rams lead 27-20. And Stafford has 3 TDs at the moment. Odell Beckham has 64 for one TD. Cooper Kupp 60 for 1 TD. And so it's interesting. So Odell Beckham has 64 for 1 TD, and that's on 4 receptions. Cooper Kupp has 10 receptions on 60 yards on 10 receptions and 1 TD. Van Jefferson has about 60 yards. He had 58 plus 1 TD. So yeah, Stafford's on 3 touchdowns and 3 different receivers. They all got about the same amount of production in terms of yards. But Cooper Kupp, once again, has 10 receptions to go with his. So
and I'm playing against him against my first round playoffs. That's the guy. I got Kirk going against him.
So we asked about Hunter Renfro, whether we'd have him or DeAndre Hopkins. Right now, Hopkins has 3 receptions, 40 yards on 8 targets. In a game that they have to come back. And throw the ball. AJ Green, 7 receptions, 102 yards.
Oh, I picked him up on my daily too. I picked him up and Odell.
Connor, man, he's doing work. I need it because I had a piss poor performance from 3 of my guys this week on my team.
Terrence is backstage.
Oh yeah, let's see. So with Arizona is Kyler Murray. He has 278 yards passing, but he has 2 interceptions and he has 60 on the ground. And so once again, regardless of what he does going forward, if he put up those type of rushing numbers, it's going to be tough to keep him out of the top 5 week in and week out in the playoffs. Right now, though, he's out of the top 5. I think those 2 interceptions are really hurting him.
He's my starting quarterback. Dude, it's like everybody. It's like when you need somebody for the playoffs. I hate being a top seed in the playoffs, man.
You don't want to be the top seed in the playoffs, man. That's for sure. All right,
thanks, Terrence.
I'm telling you, man. The thing is,
you brought that up yesterday.
You got to do what you said, dude. Is you got to don't fall in love with your players. You know what I mean? Like,
I did.
Have players that help you weeks 1 through 7, but like you said, if you in the playoffs and you can bench McLaurin, McLaurin's hard to bench, but
No, in this league I have it's 1 quarterback, 3 receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, and 2 flex. So I don't even have top players. It's just that each player consistently gives me points with matchups. Like that's how I won. It's just except for today when I have 4 people on bye.
You already in there. You locked into the playoffs?
Yeah, but I'm about to be out the first round. But my other league, I just came from last to I came from last to 4th. Wow. And I'm winning tonight.
My turn look like he playing the slow jam on the Quiet Storm. Like Kevin Slow Jam and James.
This camera, the thing he like
It's
Go
a
The
motion sensor.
adjust.
mm-mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like it'll lighten up, but then it just go dark. I don't know why.
because it
It
looks
does.
All
this.
right, so listen, like I know we kind of get close to needing to cut off, but some other interesting games in particular were the this what was that? The San Francisco Cincinnati game. Garoppolo ended up with almost 300 yards passing, two TDs through the air. What was one not so interesting thing about it was the fact that Jeff Wilson Jr. did basically nothing on from the ground standpoint. McHasty only had 3 targets, 3 receptions for 10 yards. Brandon Ayuk had 6 for 62 for a touchdown. Debo 37 for and 1 TD as well. But the big story today was George Skittle Kittle dropping 13 receptions,
131.
150 yards. The
Oh, 150. Man.
yeah, 151 on there. Uh, the in regards to
Disrespectful.
let's see,
Mm.
no, the
Disrespect the
13
podcast like that.
the 13 receptions, 151 yards, 1 TD.
So I'm just playing.
Joe Burrow ended up with 348, 2 TDs, and then Jamar Chase had 5 for 77, 2 TDs. Let's see, my boy T Higgins 5 receptions, 114.
Yeah, T
One
Higgins. He man. He been
he
he's
been on the
that
scene.
engine that moves. Like he's that. You gotta get him first before you get Chase.
Yeah,
Chase,
Chase may have an opportunity to have a high ceiling, but if you want consistency, fantasy performance, Higgins has definitely been that guy for Cincinnati. I have in a couple of leagues. Right now, Higgins' numbers are over the last 3 weeks: 5 for 114, 9 for 138, 6 for 114. His fantasy finishes are 19, 3, and 4 over the last 3 weeks. He has Denver coming up, which could be a little heavy, right? But considering that Chase gets the most attention, uh, I still see him producing in that game. But then week 16, man, he had the juicy matchup with Baltimore. If they still had their corners out, there's
Yeah, the
opportunity.
corner's out for the season.
So let's see.
See how I lighten up like that, then go dark.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see some other fantasy notables. Uh, the Giants Chargers game. We had Herbert had 3 TDs on the day, 275 through the air, and then
Go
you
ahead,
got
say it.
who was that?
Guyton.
Yeah, Guyton had 87 for 1 TD. Williams had 6 for 61. Now this game was without Keenan Allen because due to COVID, which is interesting. To see Guyton stepped up. Only had Joshua Palmer had the most targets with 7. Actually, he still, he had a decent day with 67 on the ground with a touchdown and 17 yards receiving. I'm just saying, Chase Daniel got in the game and had 1 attempt for -2 yards. Like, I'm not sure what that was about.
Yo, the winner of the FanDuel Millie Maker. This Bama had Guyton and Robbie Anderson and
I never
Rashad
thought
Penny.
Robbie Anderson.
I'm
Yeah.
Who's the other
"Bro,
one?
How did you pick those people?
I knew Guyton.
I know how he picked him.
Why?
It was one of his randomly generated lineups that he had. There's no way he looked at them like, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna
Right.
pick Penny, and I'm gonna get. So that's probably
Yeah,
like
I'm
one. That's
like
probably like
Robbie
his.
Anderson.
That's probably like his 500th entry.
Right, you right. Because I'm like Guyton and Robbie Anderson and
And
Rashad Penny.
like nobody's picking Robbie Anderson though.
Right.
And
Yeah, I knew about Guyton because of
so yeah, Guyton, Robbie
Allen.
Anderson, and who else? And Penny.
Yeah.
Penny.
Who was the stud that went on? He probably had Kittle.
And then he had all studs. Yeah, he had Kittle.
Did he have Andrews?
Who was the top? Who was the top quarterback? He had
Allen.
Nah, he didn't have Josh Allen. I think he had Brady.
Either
Yeah, I
Brady
think
or
he had
Rodgers.
Brady.
Yeah, most of them had Brady.
Evans or something like that.
And
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, I can't compete with that. Guyton,
yeah.
Robbie Anderson. I mean, Rashad Penny. You pick all three of those. Like, I can't compete.
Look, he might as well look at that rate, right? With those picks that he had, it would be just as likely for him to have picked what's the boy from Chicago that went off last night?
Bird
Bird.
or
No,
Grant. Yeah.
Grant.
Grant, yeah.
Well, Grant, this is the second time going off, so he on my list.
Man, second time.
He
Nobody
got
picking on
speed,
Grant last
man.
week.
He
He do, but
trying
it's
to
like
they trying to
he's never come
survive, man.
up.
He trying to keep his job.
He's never come up in any fantasy
Discussion.
conversation.
Right.
And all of a sudden he just smashed. Like he might have to pick them. If you at the people because he picked Guyton, Robbie Anderson, and Penny.
Yeah.
He might
Yeah, I
as
don't
well
know about
have
Robbie Anderson, but Guyton, yeah, I knew about Guyton, and you told me about Penny. I had Penny on my watch list because you told me something about Penny. I was like, man, I'm not touching anybody from Seahawks. If you ain't Lockett, I'm not touching nobody else.
Yeah, he had Lockett, so the rest was all studs. So I think what he did was he was like, I'm gonna pick all studs, and then I'm just gonna get like the cheapest people who might go off. And he just happened to hit 3 for 3. Because all of them people was like super cheap.
I mean, he was smart with the only one with Robbie Anderson. He probably thought like maybe that's the one he could fit with the price.
That's what I'm saying. That's what but even Guyton and like I feel like.
But Guyton, you kind of know because Guyton went off the game before that, and then you don't have Keaton Allen. They're going to be throwing. Second, you have Penny. They already said all the running backs are out except for Alex Collins, and he wasn't playing that good last week.
What was their ownership percentage?
It was all below. Like Robbie Anderson was like 2.2%, which I'm surprised he was even 2%.
I was gonna say I'm surprised. I thought you were gonna say like a 0.5%.
Nah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I think people be knowing it's sort of like the Carter thing. Like people in North Carolina might know, oh, Robert Anderson,
right?
Always go.
They watch the game,
yeah, or something, or like nobody outside of DC is choosing Carter like how Jose is talking about Carter. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'll be thinking of something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're right about that because like I'd be watching the teams I'm watching. I know more of the players like San Fran. Like I know who's gonna come up before they come up because I've been watching them in practice and stuff like that. And so I kind of like the Jets. I watch closely on the Jets. I watch closely on the Raiders. I watch closely on a couple teams. So I know when they get to their backup, like play wise, percentage wise, I kind of know that. But when it goes like Carolina, I'm not watching.
For me, like I had a call like that where I hit when Deshaun Jackson played the Cowboys. And I was like, Deshaun Jackson always busts the Cowboys. He probably gonna get a touchdown on them. And sure enough, Bama did. And that was like his first touchdown, I think. Or second touchdown, something like that. So
like because I called Garoppolo. Because I said, man, Garoppolo had 2 bad games. He's going to – everybody been saying he sucks. He's going to come out there and throw for, like, something. And, he looks sorry, but he still got 300 yards.
All right, so speaking of we can go ahead and try to wrap up real quick. And so speaking of the let me see, what was that? Oh, the Green Bay Chicago game. Justin Fields had a nice day too. They actually had, played a decent game, man. They jumped out early, still ended up losing 45-30, and like Roger said, we own you. He owned you. He proved that again last night. But Justin Fields had a nice day, 224, 2 TDs through the air. Had 74 rushing yards. David Montgomery was decent. He had both 42 yards rushing, 39 yards receiving. But the story tonight was Jakeem Grant, 1 reception for a big play, 46-yard touchdown, and the big return as well. So then you had Bird, who has 76 yards and a touchdown. And once again, man, Allen Robinson, who and Daryl Mooney, the 2 receivers that's supposed to have been there, they go 2 guys, didn't show up or didn't produce. Excuse me, from a fantasy standpoint.
What did Allen Robinson get? I'm gonna tell you a little secret about that. I can't hear you. Got you on mute. So I had 2 players to play, and I'm in the playoffs, right? And it's my first before getting kicked out. So I have Allen Robinson and Christian Kirk. I have not looked at my score to see if I'm close or not, to see what points he got. I'm just hoping that somebody blows him out.
Man, yeah, Allen Robinson had 2 receptions, 14 yards on 6 targets. Aaron Rodgers, man, 4 TDs. He was, doing the thing again over Chicago. They said that before, what was it? Before Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers' tenure at Green Bay, that the Chicago held like a 40-game lead or something like that over Green Bay in the series.
What?
They said after those 2, since those 2 have been quarterbacks, and now they up by like I think maybe 10.
That's crazy.
That's how bad it's been since they had those 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, because that's right. Chicago was dominant.
Right.
The team.
Mm-hmm.
So Rodgers went off, man. Devontae Adams once again, 13 targets, 10 receptions, 121 yards, 2 TDs. So let me see something. I know Cooper Kupp been doing this thing, and he's been the number 1 receiver for the most part. But would you say between Adams next year? Who's the number 1 receiver going off the board? Adams, Kupp, or Jefferson next year?
Oh,
It depends on where Rodgers going to be too.
Yeah, I guess that's something. Definitely something to take in consideration, because you come back and who's the backup to Rodgers right now? It's the kid name that he did not look like he was ready.
Kevin Love, or
is it Love?
Yeah, Love.
Yeah, if he quarterback for Devontae Adams, I guess that automatically puts Kupp and Jefferson as the number 1 or 2 receivers, huh?
I don't know, man. I got to put Debo up there, top 5.
No, we're just talking about number 1. Who?
Oh, number 1.
Who would you pick
receiver?
between Adams, Kupp, and Jefferson?
Kupp.
What about you?
If Rodgers did, I got to take Adams. I mean,
they're not consistent enough, man. If you look at
Adams not
Rams,
consistent.
Nah,
man.
Kupp, first of all, Adams been consistent for the past couple years.
Right. This is Kupp's first time.
Yeah, Kupp ain't did this. He ain't do this last year.
So when I mean consistent, like, okay, does he play the whole year? He's always been hurt, play half the year, and then like there's games. Yeah.
Nah, Kupp been hurt more than Devontae Adams.
I don't know. I don't know.
I definitely agree with that. The Adams, man, he been consistent. And my salary cap league is a Dallas league too. I remember when I first got in the league, I kept keeping Julio Jones as my one of my offensive keepers. That was a mistake, man. Every year he would have, and it was, they were going. It was the head-to-head games, right? So he would have those games, man. He would just like do nothing at all. He had these blow-up games. He scored like 50 points. Then the next 2 weeks he do nothing. No, whatever. So he was costing me games. I had to let it do go. So ever since I had Adams, he's been consistent for the most part. Like he hadn't missed a lot of games. Julio was always injured. I was like, man, this dude cost me half my salary cap, and I can't even count on it.
And the thing I like about their connections, Aaron Rodgers be like, I don't care. I'm not throwing to nobody else. Like he literally would just keep throwing it to him, and people can't stop it. But this is a contract year for him too, so I don't know. He might not repeat this. So
yeah, it's all right, man. So we'll just go ahead and wrap up. AJ didn't look nice. The game script didn't favor him. He had 71 yards or 15 attempts. But Aaron Jones ended up being the star in the backfield because he had 1 touchdown rushing, and look, it was after AJ Dillon had a long run too. He ended up forcing a touchdown, and he had 30 yards receiving with a touchdown as well. So Alan Lazar had a nice game. We talked about him earlier, and then let's do one more game before we head on out, and then we'll talk about who you guys focusing on waivers. San Francisco, Cincinnati. Did we no, we touched on this one. Let's go with here's one that had some decent fancy production we might not have been expecting. Where we talked about the Millie Maker. Atlanta versus Carolina. They had Robbie Anderson go for 7 for 84, 1 TD. With Cam Newton at the helm, who ended up with 170 yards
passing. He got benched too.
I called Atlanta defense.
What did they end up having for their defense?
Well, FanDuel was like 15 points, but they had like 6.
Oh, okay. So Cordell Patterson had a decent game. Mike Davis, you got any interest in him going to the fantasy playoffs? He had 44 on the ground, 42 in the air.
I mean, if he's available, yeah, but nah.
To be honest, he definitely. I don't know if he was hurt early in the season, but if you see him run,
he definitely
looked way better.
Yeah, he definitely looked a lot better.
Before it looked like he looked like he had bricks on his feet. But now,
about somebody who was frustrated. That Bama, Gene.
Right,
man. I think didn't he end up cutting him?
Yeah.
He was trying to ride with him, man. He was frustrating him every weekend. Russell Gage, who we was questioning whether or not he was ready for prime time. He had a decent day. He had 4 for 64, so it wasn't a total waste. But he still led the team in targets with 6, or tied for the lead with Kyle Pitts with 6 targets. Kyle Pitts had 5 for 61, even though Hayden Hurst got the 1 touchdown for 3 yards. So,
isn't Ridley coming back next week or something like that?
Who?
Ridley.
Oh, is he supposed to come back next week?
I think so. I don't know.
I ain't heard that.
Yeah, I look. As you were saying, I was like, "Oh man, let me go take the waiver wire."
He wasn't doing nothing when he was there.
Yeah, but
he might be a winner. Look, hey, Jose. Speaking of that, Yahoo got him as had point production potentially next week. So,
I got to read up on him.
Yeah, I need Adam Schefter. I need a Shefty site and like, oh yeah, Lord, it's talk that really might be coming back. I might take a flower on him and see. All right, man. So let's go ahead. Before I go, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson had 12 targets. DJ Moore had 10. Which is interesting because I wouldn't think that they would have 2 receivers with double-digit targets in this game. But considering how poor of a passing game they had with Cam and PJ Walker taking snaps, but he ended up with 10. DJ Moore was 10 targets, 6 receptions, 84 yards. But at least showing he had some consistency since they benched. What's the boy from the came from? Don.
He ain't benched. He's IR.
Man, that dude,
but he's gone. He's gone next year.
He need to get out the building. But oh man. So I know I said this was last game, but there's one thing. Baltimore, Lamar Jackson went out early in the game. Man, that definitely didn't bode well for him. So I'm not sure how much you can make out of this game from Baltimore standpoint. We do know that their defense is hurting right now with their defensive backs being out. So Landry even had 5 here. Once again, it's giving you that steady 85 for 50 production, but he did have a TD this time. And Donald Peoples-Jones had 5 for 90. How do the tight ends have more production than all the receivers? Crazy. What's up with Kareem Hunt? I think we talked about him.
He got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt early. They said he came back on the sidelines and he didn't see me. So
he said he out another week, man. And he was my starting running back.
Cleveland won this game against Baltimore, and their
It
running
was
back.
defense.
Yeah, but the running backs had Chubb only has 59 yards rushing. Dearness Johnson 22. Kareem Hunt had 5. So neither one of them scored more than 8 points. So that's interesting. But from a let's get into it, man. Jose, give me a three waiver pickups. Let me go ahead and call it. And then returns, you give me 3. Give you 3. Who you got for next week that you looking at? 3 to max. 1 to 3.
Barrios. Jordan has risen up and went to the Sleeper Kings list. So I forgot his name. First name Berwin Jordan or something. Brevin Jordan. Tight end from Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I like him. I was watching a couple of his games. I mean, a couple of his plays, and I like what they're doing with him. And Sam Mills, man. I said Sam Mills.
You said linebacker?
Dave Mills, the quarterback.
Mills for Houston?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Tony, what about you?
Well, Rashad Penny got to be the number one pickup,
Mm.
at least in my book. So I would go with him. Who else? Actually, it might be some good people to pick up because people cutting big. It's some people who've been down like Ben Roethlisberger. This probably he's not gonna be out there in a 2 quarterback league, but in the 1 quarterback league, it could be even like Justin Fields look good.
Mm-hmm.
So don't fall in love with your players. That's the rule. If you're in the playoffs, I'm not in the playoffs, but if you're in the playoffs, cut some of them names where they just a name, but they ain't been performing. Deontay Foreman could be another one. If he out there, I would start him over, some popular names. So
I like Foreman. I like Deontay Foreman. I'm not sure what his ownership rate is right now, though. Considering after Big Boy went down, so he might be heavily on. But if he's out there, I definitely think Foreman would be a good pickup. But I like Penny. I think was that you who later pick up Devontae Parker? If he's still out there, I think he's a worthy pickup. And I'm gonna go back, dig deep on this one. Amon-Ra St. Brown with Detroit. I'm gonna go with him because that's if KJ Osborne is picked up. I figured he would have been picked up last week. But if it's not, it would be KJ Osborne. But if Amon-Ra St. Brown is out there and KJ Osborne is gone, so go with Parker and St. Brown and Penny. So those are my 3. All right, fellas. Another one in the books, man. I appreciate y'all staying up late with me and hanging in there. And so catch y'all next Sunday.
Peace.
all right,
Hey,
peace.
good luck tomorrow on your NFT, man.
Oh man, get them Brady draws.
I'm about to get the Tony Hawk draws too.
I'm all for it. Dirty socks, all that.
They coming tomorrow.
Hey,
5 o'clock.
$250 Brady draw.
Tony Hawk on NFT on autograph .ia or AI or something like that.
Something like that.
Go ahead, check that out.
I'm getting in early. As soon as the clock strikes 12, I'm going in.
Yep, I'm gonna start picking all of them up. All right, fellas.
All right, fellas. Holla at y'all, man. Later.